Pep Watson. Sunday, 28th of March 2021, which is, I believe, day 45 on the run. So I'm here enjoying the nature, this beautiful view. We've got like nearly a full moon over here, and then behind me we've got the sun setting in the west, just behind me there. Really beautiful. So I'm just getting some fresh air, just getting some elevated perspective on my plight, on my predicament, on my situation, on the suffering, the ongoing endless suffering of all short tariff IPPs and their family members. Getting some elevated perspective on all the short tariff IPPs who've perished, who've died, who've committed suicide because death became their best friend, because it relieved them from their suffering. It's very sad, you know. So the last couple of days I've been working. I have been preparing for a parole hearing as part of my consultancy work for my federation, supporting the family of short tariff IPP Danny Weatherson. He has his parole hearing on the 31st of March, this Wednesday, which commences at 10 AM in HMP Northumberland. The parole hearing has been constantly adjourned and delayed. Danny served 11.5 years of a 15-month tariff for the attempted robbery of a coat and a mobile phone, and then he was released after 11.5 years, and then immediately recalled after only a few days for having an argument in a probation hostel in Leeds, where the parole board sent him hundreds of miles away from his home, from his family. He's been back in custody on recall now since the summer of 2017, so we're coming up to 4 years now on recall without committing a crime. Danny's represented by a fantastic solicitor called Shaun, very efficient, effective solicitor who spent his whole life and his whole career fighting for marginalised groups. Shaun is a beacon of hope for diversity, for equality in modern Britain, an unsung hero. And this Wednesday at 10 o'clock is Judgment Day for Danny Weatherson and his family. So I'm here offering my support to Danny's family whilst on the run as a political state fugitive, whilst being hunted by the police in the United Kingdom as a wanted man, wanted by the police all over the United Kingdom for a third life-destroying recall. But life goes on, and I'll continue to work. I'll continue to do all I can with the resources available to me to grow my grassroots people power political federation of equality and justice, this grassroots people power movement of the people for the people, to work to uplift humanity in modern Britain, to work to continue to raise awareness of all the issues that blight millions of oppressed people in modern Britain, and all the issues apparent in the modern day social crisis in the United Kingdom of Great Britain. This is my purpose. This is why I get up every day, every morning. This is why I exist, why I live and breathe And for as long as there is air in my lungs, I'll continue to fight for the oppressed and stand up with a voice for the voiceless, no matter the consequences, which have been many. I had a video call yesterday with my 7-year-old niece, who's very confused about the police coming to our house looking for me. She'd been talking at school to the teachers, who ended up phoning her mum, concerned that she'd been talking about the police coming to her house looking for her uncle, me. I do wake up every day with a deep sense of impending doom, you know, that psychological terror, that threat, that endless, inescapable psychological terror of the threat of yet another life-destroying recall without committing a crime. It never goes away. I don't have any peace from it. But when I come up here in the nature and I breathe this air and I see this beautiful sunset, I do have an element of peace, because when I reflect with this elevated perspective that I attain from walking these hills in the nature, when I reflect on the sacrifices that I've made, that I continue to make on behalf of my brothers and sisters that continue to suffer, it can be said, and must be said, and shall be said, that there can be no greater act of love than to lay down one's life for his brothers and sisters. It's true. And the feeling that I get as I walk right now in the sunlight of the spirit, aligned with the divine intelligence, the creator of all things, this feeling that I get as I walk hand in hand with the spirit of the universe, is just a feeling that I cannot describe. And it is only when I sacrifice, and and give up all of the freedoms that have been taken away from me, when I accept, it's only when I accept and have acceptance over the freedoms that have been taken away from me, it's only then that I experience this feeling. And it is the greatest feeling on this earth, and that is something that they will never ever take away from me. Look at this. I feel alive, I feel fresh. And that's it for today from me, activist, writer, broadcaster, digital, political, civil rights activist, civil rights leader, world criminal justice commentator, and leading UK criminal justice commentator and consultant, Pepsi Watson, on this beautiful day in the nature in England, this land of faith and glory. March 28th, 2021. Lots of love, people.